And I'm so happy to have Elise. Come on over here, Elise. And Tapani, I haven't seen Tapani in a while. There's going to be the 20th anniversary of the Maui Ocean Center. I cannot believe. I remember when the Maui Ocean Center was being born. I remember it being built out there, and I really can't believe it's actually been 20 years. Oh, my gosh. So you're going to be having a big celebration at the Maui Ocean Center this coming Sunday. And it's a birthday celebration at 11 o'clock, and there's going to be music from a Kolu Trio at 3 o'clock, and there's going to be a live remote with our friend across the hallway here, Kamikaze, and that's going to be going on from 12 to 3. But you've got a full day of activities planned. So, number one, do you want to put headsets on, or you good? Yep. I mean, number one, it's good to see you, Elise.
It's great to see you, Cindy. It's been a while.
Yes, and it's so exciting because, the Maui Ocean Center was kind of way ahead of its time, and it kind of blew people's mind. I remember when it was first built here, and it was like, wow. I think the thing that got the most attention was walking through that tunnel, and you actually could see sharks and stingrays, floating around you in that tunnel. That was...
Yeah.
And it was designed after... wasn't it a group from Jerusalem that originally designed and owned it that did it?
Actually, out of Tel Aviv, Israel.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's where the corporate parent headquarters are still located at.
So it was very interesting. It was like a big step, right, to bring us here to Maui, right?
Yeah, of course. We are actually global, or the Coral World International is a global corporation. Australia, Spain, Israel, and, of course, our Maui.
And it is a beautifully designed place. And, it's so interesting because I go over there a lot and I go, wow, there's always people coming and going. And everyone asks, well, what do you do on a rainy day on Maui? I say, go to the Maui Ocean Center. That's a perfect thing to do, right?
Everyone is at Maui Ocean Center today.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. But there's a lot going on over there. And it's all done with a very, very, I'd say, sensitive and dedicated intent to reflect the islands here. And I see things there every time that blows my mind how much and how dedicated it is to being reflective of our oceans here in the Pacific Ocean and the islands.
Yeah, so the Maui Ocean Center's mission is to foster understanding, wonder, and respect for Hawaii's marine life. So we are incredibly blessed to live where we do and to be able to showcase some of these incredible animals that live on the reefs with our guests is just amazing. And we have, over the last 20 years, implemented programs throughout the park so people can become that much more educated about the beautiful species that are a part of Hawaii's reefs, and then as a part of that, have a growing respect and understanding of what we need to do to ensure their sustainability and their long-term survival.
And that's so interesting because in 20 years, actually, the reefs have become more endangered, through the years, even though we knew a lot of respect was needed to maintain our reefs. There's been lots of studies and a lot of money spent, right? But it's still a really important thing, a very important part that we have to be totally aware of, that our reefs still need protecting, right?
They are under duress. Let me be really clear about that. Everyone on Maui should understand what it means. And the real question is, what will happen to Hawaii if we lose our coral reefs?
Yes, and I hate thinking about that. I mean, I really do. But, part of it was people who weren't aware of this and just didn't know better. Some was kind of greed of tourism and people that were doing things. And then there was all those fish that were taken, and taken off island and put. You remember the fishing. I think it's now illegal to actually harvest some of the fish that were being taken.
Yeah, it's regulated activity, which it should be. There are several reasons, environmental reasons. For example, Brown Advisory Days. Maui actually has had the most Brown Advisory Days out of all the islands between 2010 and 2015.
I did not know that.
Yep.
I was not aware of that.
43 per year on average.
Wow.
So what does that actually indicate? That indicates to us that we have a big sedimentation issue. We really need to look at more holistic watershed management plans. The way Hawaiians used to be here before we got here, they were doing things right. Aupua concept everything was connected. So they took care of the land. It's very simple.
And today is a brown advisory day because whenever you have a day like where there's been some rain and water and wash off, especially over a few days, you get that. You get that happening there.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, naturally, there were some pools, tide pools areas, the ponds that was helping to collect that. And there's a few of those left, but obviously it's still a big issue. The celebration party is going to be this Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. with the remote going on in the middle of the day. And you've really planned a huge amount of events. I mean, this to me kind of is mind-blowing. You're starting, number one, for Sunday morning very early at 9 a.m., right? With
yes.
a lot going on. Do you want to go down what you've planned?
Sure. So I think one of the things that we really wanted to do was to create a very special opportunity for everyone to come and become enamored again with what these amazing animals represent and the important reefs that we are surrounded by. And so with that, we wanted to invite many of our community partners that we have worked with over the years. So we have NOAA Humpback Whale Sanctuary will be in the park and providing insight about these beautiful animals. And then the monk seal group will also be there. And then we also have our friends from the Keālia pond that will be able to talk about wildlife from the marsh and the tide and that ocean I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. But basically between the ocean and the land and those relationships.
Have you noticed this year how much water's been in Keālia Pond? It's higher this year than I've ever seen it before.
Yes, and of course you see all the birds are very happy.
Yes,
they've got lots of nesting grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's full on, even on both sides. And it's like, wow. I remember some years where all you would get those little gnats, those little bugs that were flying around because there wasn't enough water and stuff, and you'd smell it. But we've had a pretty full pond. Now, when they're coming, where in the parking lot area is all this stuff? Where is it going to be happening?
So they actually be inside the park, in our Living Reef building and in the Hawaiians in the Sea. And the Kohoʻolawe Island Reserve Commission will also be there to talk about navigation and some of the work that's been going on in Kohoʻolawe. And so in addition to that, of course, we do have some of our other community partners that include the Maui Classic Cruisers that are coming for a classic car show.
They'll be in the parking lot.
Yes, they'll be in the parking lot. And we are doing a sidewalk sale for the gift shop on Sunday.
I love the gift shop there. That's a hidden treasure. No, it is. Well, I had my book, Practicing Aloha, there, but my CD. You remember that when I had that?
Yep.
I need to get some more to you. But you know what? Sometimes people forget about that. That's such a great place to buy gifts because it is all Hawaiian, and it's got lovely things and a wide variety of items that you can get.
Right, so this Sunday will be a great time to come and pick up some of those things at a great deal.
Absolutely. So when you do that, do you go in the main entrance to get access to all of this? Are you going to be going in the main entrance?
Yes, you would come in the main entrance, but of course we are expecting a fairly large lot of people to come, and so we're recommending that people pre-book their tickets online. And the day is because we want the Maui community to really be able to celebrate this with us because it's an important milestone. We have an amazing special for Kama'aina. So adults are 50% off with Hawaii Ice State ID.
That's great.
Yes, and then children 12 and years or younger are free.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, and you know who I love? I love Anthony Fluke.
Yes, me too.
Anthony's so good. He's so good, and I think he's only 19 years old. He's so young, and he does such great music, and he's going to be there at 9:30 after the opening pule, and a magic show, and you got Kamehameha School doing the ukulele performance at 1. How wonderful. And is that all going to be in that center area there?
So we have actually 2 stages that day. So we'll have one in the retail plaza where we'll have the pule and the beautiful music with Anthony Fluke, as well as the magician who will be doing a couple of performances throughout the day, and then the ukulele students. And then in Harbor Plaza, we have another stage.
Now, where's the Harbor Plaza?
That is the main big plaza that overlooks the harbor.
Okay.
And there we'll have our appreciation for our employees with 5 years or more of service. We actually have 3 individuals who have been with us since day 1.
Wow.
Yes. from opening day. So
that's wonderful.
Our curator, director, John Gorman, and then one of our park entrance supervisors, Ruby, and then also Harry on the curatorial team has been there literally from day one.
It's pretty important that the curators stayed all these years, right?
Well, that certainly helps, yes.
Yeah, I know, because you definitely have a certain direction. This is not an aquarium you see somewhere else. It's unique to Maui.
Yeah, what makes Maui Ocean Center really unique is, first of all, we have an open water flow system. We have about 1.2 million gallons of seawater per day that we pump through the system. We have several different types of filtration systems. We have mechanical high-pressure sand filters that remove all the biosolids from the water and from the system. And then we have biological, we call it actually a gravity filter. Basically, we have a nitrogen bacteria there that actually converts NH4, which is ammonia, to NO3 and NO2, which is nitrate-nitrite. So this actually completes the cycle.
That's complicated.
I
tried to follow you. I had you halfway through the sand filtration, and then I kind of got lost. So I guess you'd have to be very, very involved in this to understand that there's a lot of filtration.
It's actually a fairly complicated system. You're absolutely right, but that's actually what makes it beautiful, because we are the largest. We have the largest collection under our care of living coral in the United States.
Really?
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, most of the other aquariums you visit, you will see artificial corals there, unfortunately.
So you have the largest living.
Yeah.
Now, there's different kinds of coral, too.
Oh, we have 42 different species of corals
I
on
didn't
exhibit.
40, and I've been there, I can't even say countless times, and I did not know that.
I'm always learning new things myself, like there's a rice coral, there's a mushroom coral. I mean, it's amazing, and they're all just incredibly beautiful.
Do they all take special care, different kinds of care for the different kinds of coral? Or
a little bit different. There are different species, of course, and there are certain rules who you can actually put next to each others. And in the environment, it's by natural selection. So we pay close attention to what's happening in the ocean. Corals, of course, let me go back. In 9/11, 2015, ocean water temperature was 85 degrees of Fahrenheit around the Maui waters. I'm sure plenty of the listeners were in the water in those days, and they remember the rise in the temperature. As a result, we saw about 40% of the Hawaii's coral reefs, they bleached, and a lot of them are still that way. Big disconnect that I see.
And it was the heat that bleached them.
Actually, there are usually three factors, but mostly heat, the velocity of that heat and how fast it changes, and duration of that heat change. So those are usually the factors. But most people, when they come and visit aquarium, I still see a lot of people thinking corals as being a rock. So
they really do.
It's
they
really
don't
unfortunate.
think of them as a living thing.
Unfortunately, no.
Wow.
Yeah, so what we are doing actually in the aquarium, of course, signage and telling stories about the coral, but we're also showing coral feeding under a microscope and a big screen. So visitors who come in, or guests as we call them, as they come in, they can actually participate in that activity. And when I personally saw that first time, it just blew my mind open, because such a beautiful animal, and you can see it close up. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it gives you a lot more respect.
Of course.
A lot more respect. I love that you're actually you have a nursery bay hale, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You'll be doing tea leaf lei making. How cool is that?
Yeah, so actually on this coming Sunday, we are bringing in some of our cultural practitioners to provide a lot of different activities, but these are things that are happening on an ongoing basis in the park. So, for example, we are having more than several come in, but on a regular basis, we have ukulele lessons Monday through Friday, and we have the tea leaf lei demonstrations twice a week. And we also have a special plant tour and culture tour a couple of times a week as well. So there's a lot of different content that we're trying to provide opportunities for our guests to have that richer understanding about the relationship of the Hawaiians with the sea, and then about the uniqueness of the marine life that they're seeing. So Maui Ocean Center only showcases those things you would see in Hawaiian waters, and up to 25% of those species are found nowhere else in the world. So the Maui Ocean Center is an aquarium, but it is the aquarium of Hawaii. And so unlike any other aquarium that you may go to in the world, it's the only one that you're going to be able to come and see the creatures that live in these beautiful waters in a place and have that understanding about their significance.
And if I may add to that, what really makes us unique is substantial portion of the marine life under our care gets returned back to the ocean, to the same spot where we collected them. And then Kaho Dane Maxwell, who is Uncle Charlie's grandson, he's our cultural advisor, and he usually places the animals when we collect them and when we release back them to the ocean. So it's just amazing sight to behold. So this is really makes my day.
And it is so important to have that respect, because we all know we're supposed to respect the Aina. That's one of the key points that we do and live by in the motto of Hawaii. But respecting the Aina is only half of it. If we don't respect the ocean, if we don't respect the ocean, we will not be able to live. We are surrounded by the ocean, and the ocean, we don't understand it, and we're still learning so much, about every aspect of the ocean.
I was listening to National Public Radio the other morning, and I heard Sylvia Earle say something that really resonated with me. And she said that the biggest disconnect that she sees, with public in general, is that most people think these oceans are vast resources that are endless, that we can continue to do whatever we are doing without having any impact. But we need to wake up and really realize that this is not infinite resource that we can commodify. We need to take care of it.
Well, and when I realized that there's been so much plastic, and that these plastic islands, and that now there's plastic particles in all of the oceans, that was a real eye-opener for me when I found that out last year. To think that all of the oceans now have little plastic particles, and then that we, our people of this world, are responsible for that kind of pollution, and we're still trying to figure out what kind of damage it's doing to the life in the ocean, and we're just totally unaware of what we're doing. It's just a shame. So, having events like this where you not only celebrate, but to me at least, it sounds like it's all about learning as well. It's really, and that's a lot of what you're really about at the Ocean Center. The Maui Ocean Center is about teaching.
Well, let me say this to you and the radio audience listening out there. Maui Ocean Center, we are not in entertainment business. We really need to have a sense of community. Everything really starts with the local community here and ends with the community. So we need to add value to the community. And how are we a steward of the resources that we are part of? How do we become a good community member? By really taking a leadership position on a lot of these issues and start advocating for issues that matter, because if we don't do it, then who will? And, for example, water quality issues is a very good thing. I mentioned earlier brown water advisories. We actually hired an environmental team. We have our environmental director, technical affairs, Aviat Kahana, who is a chemical engineer by training. He was involved with Deepwater Horizon incident way back. And then Robin Knox is our environmental director of regulatory affairs. And as the community knows here, she's been very active with the injection well issues, and rightly so, I believe. We as a community really need to look at these issues comprehensively and see where do we really stand, in terms of the history, as history judges us, what we are doing, how are we taking care of these issues. So we've actually done a scientific study now on the water quality related to Maui Ocean Center. And we found out that with us discharging 1.2 million gallons of pristine seawater back into the harbor, we actually pump it in from the bay and we discharge it to the harbor. We are actually cleaning the Malaya harbor waters. And if we stopped discharging into the harbor, the ammonia levels would rise over 37 micrograms per liter, which is toxicity level. So.
Well, I remember, and this issue's been going on a long time, but I remember about 10 years ago about the whole thing about the pumping station. People were not aware that there were ships coming in and just dumping their sewage right there into the harbor.
Yeah, there's a, that was an issue that a lot of people focused on. There's a great environmental nonprofit organization called Maui Nui Marine Resource Council. I would encourage people, if people want to do something about it, reach out to them. They're doing independent water quality testing around the island of Maui. Maui Ocean Center, we also started 501c3 a nonprofit in 2016, Maui Ocean Center Marine Institute. So basic 3 foundational pillars are a turtle rescue facility and also coral repository. This is, to me personally, existential issue here in Hawaii. And this is, in essence, a gene bank of rare endemic Hawaiian corals. And then the third one is STEM-based education outreach to local public schools.
Good.
Having been a public school teacher a long time ago, public schools are very close to my heart, and I want to make sure that we provide all the possible resources to public schools.
I think all tourboat owners and people who take tourboats out should also be very, very educated about. I think it's gotten better over the years, but many times people would go down and they go diving and they damage the coral. And I think it's getting a little better, but there's, again, a lot of education involved.
Absolutely. And I think as a community, we're starting to work together more. At least I see the direction this way. I see people coming in. When we actually did a presentation to Department of Health clean water plants 4 or 5 months ago. And, we went in there with the intent of providing a solution for DOH, how to manage these watershed issues, and which we did. And they actually were very, very impressed to the point where they said, why don't you write a watershed management plan, which actually Robin is almost done writing for the Malaya Bay, and invite a consortium of local stakeholders together, which we are in the process of doing, and we will actually fund this process for you. So DOH is actually very interested in seeing communities to take charge and working together with DOH and providing solutions. And this, to me, makes so much sense. Instead of people just saying, well, we don't have funding, we don't have manpower, nobody seems to be able to do anything specific about it.
Well, I think everyone's aware that it's important, but there's still so much education. I'm sure you at least, you're a very aware person, and, worked for years at Whole Foods and live a very healthy lifestyle, but look how much you've learned even just the time you've been there. Yes, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, the Maui Ocean Center is a unending pool of amazement. It has been a joy to work there, and I am really excited about the opportunity to share this milestone for the 20th anniversary, because I think as much as we want to talk about things that we've accomplished over the last 20 years, we are really excited about the next day, the next stage. And as Tapani was talking about, we have a lot of things that are in place that we're going to be increasing our sphere of influence for the good of the larger community around Maui and the reefs. And so we're excited about that. And with the new nonprofit, the Maui Ocean Center Marine Institute, we're also going to be able to, in particular, help certain species that are under threat and educate more about those particular species. But then the other thing that we haven't probably touched on that I'm really excited about is that, one, the animals that are on exhibit are as ambassadors of their species, and we are very mindful of the uniqueness of these animals, and being able to return them back to their home waters is really, I think for all of us personally, because we're very passionate about these animals, is a comfort to us to know that we can do that. And then in addition to that, we're looking for always sustainable ways to continue to showcase different animals in a sustainable way. And so we've partnered with a couple of places that have provided us with aquacultured tangs. And we're also looking for other particular species that are native to Hawaiian Islands that we can have on display that weren't taken off of the reefs themselves.
So in essence, what Elise is highlighting here when we're looking at question is, are we part of the problem? I don't believe so. For our sustainability practices, how a substantial portion of the marine life under our care gets returned back into the ocean. The bottom line is that we are so focused on educational mission. There are a lot of people out there who have no idea what's in the ocean. How can we foster this love if people do not see this in person? And with that love, the protection will follow. And, again, we all need to work together. So what we're really working on, this yellow tang issue, we've been working closely with Renee Umberger. I'm sure the local community knows her. And we partner with Oceanic Institute out of Honolulu on Waimanalo side, and then University of Hawaii Hilo. So they have aquacultured these fish species. So what we're really looking at here is a sustainable supply chain. It's not only for Maui Ocean Center, but if your audience imagines this, what the impact will be nationwide and even globally, if we are able to actually show this, that it actually works. And we believe it will. We are making a public commitment by 2020. 20% of the marine life under our care comes from sustainable supply chain.
That's quite an impressive thing. And so, people may just think of the Maui Ocean Center as a place to go down and see sharks or stingrays or some of the, you do have the lovely reefs and the turtles.
Yes, of course, the turtles.
But it's so much more than that. And this is what they can do. They can go down this coming Sunday and get a 50% off Kā'amaʻaina discount, which is amazing, and children under 12 free, so very affordable for families, and have a full day of entertainment, but also of education. I mean, there's going to be everything from great music with Anthony Fluke to magic show to Kamehameha School and all kinds of fun things going on at the Harbor Plaza starting at 11 o'clock. And I know Kamikaze will be down there doing his remote with all kinds of prizes, and Nicolo Trio will be there. And then the dive link presentations are also happening at the Open Ocean exhibit.
Right, so this is actually a really special presentation where we have a diver in the 750,000-gallon tank with those sharks and stingrays and big fish. I mean, these fish are huge. And they actually can talk to our guests on the other side of the glass. And we have a marine naturalist there who can field questions, and people can then ask the diver different questions. It really is an amazing experience.
I'd really like it if you could have the sharks talk back. Can you have them come up to that mic system and just have them their day right there?
Haven't figured that
We're here
one
for
out.
the sharks, representing the sharks today, and we're going to have a talk with you about the way people treat sharks.
Well, and actually, that's a good point. That brings up something else, in my mind. Maui is actually an amazing place. It's very progressive. We have an ordinance here that no cetaceans are allowed in captivity. To me, this is very, very
Yes.
progressive.
I remember the battle it took to keep that from happening. Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for Maui County Council, mayor, etc. They're looking at a lot of progressive issues like sunscreen, plastic bag ban that happened a few years ago, and Honolulu still hasn't been able to accomplish that. So let's keep on the same track, Maui, and let's make Maui even more amazing place.
We could talk forever about this. I think we have to have you back again, Elise and Tapani. I mean, I've learned so much. We're out of time just about. But again, can people, if they've forgotten all the information we give them, is there a good site to go to?
Yeah, so they go to MauiOceanCenter.com and they click on special events. They'll see the links there for all of the information on the entertainment, the special Kā'amaʻaina rate for 50% off general admission for adults, and the children under 12 for free. And they can pre-book their tickets there as well.
Well, thank you so much for all the information. It's been great seeing you, and I've learned so much.
Thank
See you
you.
Sunday.
Thank you, Cindy.
Aloha.
Appreciate
Aloha.
it. Have a good day.